In America, a black child is 5.5 times more likely to drown in a swimming pool than a white child. But this afternoon, in the opulent pool of the Excelsior Grand, it was a white child who sank, and the only person who saw him was a black housekeeper already running. She pulled him out. She saved his life. And now in the marble lobby, the boy's father has locked the doors. He's scanning the crowd. He's looking for her, and she's trying to disappear. Her name is Amara Johnson, 28 years old. For the last 3 years, her world has been room 412, checkout by 11, and the silent dread of being unseen. His name is Alexander Choi, heir to a global hotel empire. His world is boardrooms, private jets, and control. For 50 seconds this afternoon, their worlds collided in a desperate, water-choked act of mercy. Now, in the gilded cage of his own lobby, he holds all the power. And he is not letting anyone leave until he finds the woman who saved his son. 4 a.m. the service elevator chimes on the sub-basement level of the Excelsior Grand. Amara steps into the fluorescent glare of the linen room, the smell of bleach and industrial lavender. Her shift starts in 90 minutes. She does this every day. The early quiet is the only time the hotel feels like hers. She grew up in Baltimore, in a neighborhood where the water was what you stayed away from. Her brother drowned in a public pool when she was 10. He was 12. The lifeguard was on his phone. The statistic that black children drown at 5.5 times the rate wasn't a statistic then. It was her mother's silence at the dinner table, a permanent empty chair. She learned to swim at 16 at the Y, fighting every instinct to panic. Her instructor, a retired Coast Guard diver, told her, "The water doesn't care who you are, you either respect it or it takes you." She got good enough to lifeguard in college. But a degree in hospitality management doesn't open the doors you think it will. Not for a 25-year-old black woman with debt and no connections. The Excelsior Grand offered a job, housekeeping. She took it. That was 3 years ago. Her world is measured in squares of terry cloth and the precise 45-degree angle of a pillow. 16 rooms a day, 22 minutes per room, 30 seconds to make a bed, 15 to scrub a toilet. Her supervisor, Marla, carries a blacklight. She checks for dust on top of door frames, water spots on faucets, the invisible. Amara's section is the 4th floor, the executive terrace rooms, $500 a night. The guests are a blur of navy suits and silk blouses, rarely making eye contact. She is part of the scenery, a moving piece of the luxury. Her grandmother, who cleaned offices for 40 years, told her, "Baby, in places like this, you're a ghost. Best to be a good one. Quiet, thorough, and gone." But Amara sees everything. The wedding ring left in a soap dish by a man checking in alone. The prescription bottles for anxiety hidden in a sock drawer. The way some guests strip the beds themselves, not wanting her to touch their linen. She collects these fragments, builds silent biographies of strangers. It passes the time. Meanwhile, 43 floors above in the penthouse suite, Alexander Choi is not sleeping. He is reviewing quarterly projections on a tablet, the blue light etching lines into a face that's only 36 but carries the weight of a third-generation empire. Choi Hotels International, 72 properties across 18 countries. His grandfather built the first hotel with war reparations and ruthless ambition. His father expanded it with debt and charm. Alexander's inheritance is a sleek, teetering tower of leveraged assets and reputation. The Excelsior Grand is the flagship, the crown jewel, and it is bleeding money. A recent review in a prestigious travel magazine called it a gilded relic, criticizing its stuffy service and lack of modern soul. The board is restless. His marriage to Ilara, a French heiress from a rival hotel family, was meant to be a merger, a stabilizing force. It produced one thing, Leo, their 5-year-old son, and now it's a cold, private war conducted over lawyers' letters. Ilara wants primary custody. Her argument, Alexander is a phantom married to the company. Today, Saturday, is his mandated visitation. He has from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. to prove he is a father. He has a helicopter tour booked, a fancy lunch, a performance of competence. At 7:15 a.m., Amara starts her first room, 412. The guest has left, a tornado of discarded shopping bags and room service trays. On the desk, a half-finished mimosa. As she strips the sheets, her phone vibrates, a notification from the banking app, an overdraft fee. She closes her eyes, breathes. Her mother's medical bills are a bottomless pit. The housekeeping job, with its meager salary and fragile hope of promotion, is a lifeboat taking on water. She thinks of her brother, not as the boy who drowned, but as the boy who wanted to be an architect. He'd draw elaborate buildings on napkins. "I'm gonna build something that touches the sky, Mara," he'd say. She touches the marble bathroom counter, cold and perfect. She is in a building that touches the sky, cleaning the toilets of the people who own the sky. By 10 a.m., Alexander is in the lobby, forcing a smile as a nanny he hired for the day brings Leo down from the penthouse. Leo is small, cautious, clinging to a stuffed giraffe. He looks like Ilara. "Ready for an adventure, champ?" Alexander asks. Leo nods, silent. The plan is already fraying. The helicopter company calls, mechanical issue, flight cancelled. Alexander's assistant scrambles. "The pool, sir," she suggests. "The new aquatic playground is a major guest attraction." Alexander hesitates. He doesn't swim, never learned. A point of shame he hides beneath a mastery of everything else. But Leo's eyes light up at the word pool. "Okay," Alexander says, "the pool." The grand nautical oasis is on the rooftop, a stunning glass-enclosed complex with an infinity edge overlooking the city. It is, as the brochure boasts, a destination in itself. At this hour, it's nearly empty. A few couples on lounges, the lifeguard, a college kid named Dylan, tapping on his phone at the elevated station. Alexander settles under a cabana, orders sparkling water, and opens his laptop. Leo, in bright blue swim trunks, pads to the kiddie pool, a zero-entry splash zone with fountains. Alexander watches for a minute, sees him playing safely, then turns to a spreadsheet. The numbers blur. He doesn't see the moment Leo, bored, wanders past the rope divider. He doesn't see him approach the deeper main pool, drawn to the glittering reflection of the mosaic tile on the bottom. He doesn't see the toy giraffe slip from his grip and float toward the center. Amara is on her final room, 421. She's cleaning the balcony doors when a flash of movement catches her eye from the rooftop across the atrium well. A tiny figure in blue at the edge of the deep water. Then nothing, just a ripple. A lifetime compresses into a heartbeat. The empty lifeguard chair, the man under the cabana, head down, the terrible, familiar silence. It is not a decision. It is a reflex written in grief. She drops her rag. She doesn't take the service elevator. She finds the emergency stairwell and takes the steps 4 at a time, her rubber-soled shoes slapping against concrete. She bursts onto the rooftop pool deck, the humid air hitting her like a wall. She scans. There, a blur of blue suspended just below the surface, hair fanning like seaweed. She doesn't shout. She runs, past the loungers, past the startled guests, and she hits the water in a clean dive, her gray uniform instantly heavy, dragging her down. The water is chlorine sharp. She opens her eyes. He is 5 feet down, drifting, eyes open, not struggling, the peaceful, terrifying surrender of a drowning child. She wraps one arm around his chest, kicks hard for the surface. It feels like miles. They break through, gasping. Leo coughs, a weak sputter, then goes limp. She hauls him to the edge, her muscles burning. A woman screams. Now people are running. On the deck, Amara lays him on his side. He's not breathing. Her training takes over, cold and clear. She checks his airway, tips his head back, pinches his nose, seals her mouth over his. 2 rescue breaths. His chest rises, nothing. She starts compressions, the rhythm of the song staying alive, thumping in her head. 1, 2, 3, 4. A crowd gathers, phones raised. The lifeguard Dylan finally jolts into action, radioing for help. Alexander is there now, his face bone white, laptop forgotten on the tiles. "Leo," he shouts, trying to reach forward. "Sir, stay back," Dylan says, holding him. Amara doesn't look up. On the 30th compression, water gushes from Leo's mouth. He vomits, then draws a ragged, wet, glorious breath. His eyes flutter, a collective gasp from the crowd. The hotel's head of security arrives, then a paramedic team. They take over, loading Leo onto a gurney, administering oxygen. Alexander climbs in beside him, clutching his son's hand, his suit soaked with pool water. The ambulance doors slam, and as it pulls away, Alexander Choi looks back just once. His eyes search the crowd of stunned guests and staff. They land on the one person standing apart, dripping wet, shivering in a soaked gray uniform. He holds her gaze for 3 seconds, then he is gone. The aftermath is a quiet chaos. A manager brings Amara a towel. Dylan, the lifeguard, is fired on the spot. The guests are offered complimentary champagne. Amara is told to go to the staff locker room, change, and report to the director of human resources. She changes into her street clothes, her hands trembling. She expects a reprimand for leaving her post, for causing a scene. She walks to the HR office on the mezzanine level, but the director isn't there. Instead, a security guard blocks the door. "Ms. Johnson," Mr. Choi's personal security team requests you wait in the lobby. He's returning from the hospital. He wishes to speak with you. Something in his tone is off. It's not a request, it's an escort. As she steps into the grand lobby, she sees the main entrance. Two large security men in black suits are standing in front of the ornate brass doors. They are not opening them for the departing guests. One of them reaches over and manually slides the deadbolt across. The sound echoes in the marbled hush. A murmur ripples through the lobby. Amara stops. She looks around. The security guard who brought her down gives a slight nod toward the center of the room. And there, walking in through a private side entrance, is Alexander Choi. His son is not with him. He has changed into another immaculate navy suit. His expression is unreadable. He scans the lobby, his gaze methodical, hunting. It passes over the wealthy tourists, the concierge, the bellman, and then it stops on her. He begins walking toward her. The crowd parts, a silent sea of designer fabrics and curious eyes. He stops 3 feet away. The entire lobby holds its breath. "You," he says. His voice is low, controlled, but it carries in the marble silence. "You pulled my son from the pool." Amara nods, her throat tight. She expects anger, for the scene, for the liability. Instead, he does something utterly disarming. He bows, a deep, formal bow from the waist. The gesture is so foreign, so jarring in the opulent Western lobby that a gasp ripples through the onlookers. He straightens, his eyes intense. "You saved his life. The doctors say without your immediate action, he would have suffered brain damage or worse. You have my eternal gratitude." He signals to a man beside him, who hands Alexander a small velvet box. Alexander opens it. Inside, on a bed of satin, is a watch, platinum. "A Patek Philippe," a woman nearby whispers, her phone discreetly recording. "That's over $200,000. Alexander holds it out. "A token for your courage." The scene unfolds like a fairy tale. The humble housekeeper, the grateful billionaire, the extravagant reward. Guests are smiling now, reaching for their phones. Amara's head spins. $200,000, it would erase her mother's debt. It would change everything. But something is wrong. The locked doors, the security detail surrounding them, not just guarding, but containing. The way Alexander's gratitude feels like a performance, his eyes scanning the recording phones, not looking at her. Her grandmother's voice whispers in her ear, "When a gift is too public, baby, it's not for you, it's for them." She doesn't reach for the box. "Thank you, sir, but I can't accept that. I was just doing what anyone would do." A flicker of something, irritation, passes behind his eyes. He recovers, smiling for the cameras. "Nonsense. You displayed extraordinary heroism. The Choi family does not forget its debts." He closes the box and presses it into her hands. His grip is firm. Final, then he turns to the crowd, his voice projecting. "Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy complimentary champagne at the bar. Today we celebrate a hero in our midst." The staff springs into action, distributing flutes. The mood shifts to celebratory. The locked doors are opened, but the 2 security men who blocked them now flank Amara. Alexander leans closer, his smile still in place, his voice dropping so only she can hear. "Please come to my office. There are formalities, paperwork for the gift, and I would like to hear exactly what happened for our incident report." It sounds reasonable. It feels like a trap. She is escorted not to the Human Resources office, but to a private elevator with a gold-plated call button. It opens directly into the penthouse foyer. The apartment is vast, minimalist, cold. Floor-to-ceiling windows show the city sprawled below like a circuit board. There are no personal photos. It looks like a museum or a very expensive prison. In the study, Alexander pours himself a whiskey neat. He doesn't offer her one. He sits behind a desk of smoked glass. "Sit, Ms. Johnson," she does. The velvet box feels heavy in her lap. "My son is resting at a private clinic. He will be fine, physically." He takes a sip. "Now tell me everything you saw. From the moment you noticed him." She recounts it, sticking to the facts. The flash of movement, the empty lifeguard chair, the dive, the CPR. He listens, stone-faced, recording her on his phone. When she finishes, he asks, "And the lifeguard, Dylan McCrae, did you see him at his station before the incident?" She hesitates. "I saw the chair was empty when I looked." "And after you surfaced, where was he?" He came running over. He radioed for help." Alexander nods, steepling his fingers. "The pool has 16 high-definition cameras. Every angle, I've reviewed the footage." He turns his laptop around. On the screen, a silent video plays. It shows the pool deck from above. Leah wandering, Dylan, the lifeguard, head down, scrolling on his phone. Leah slipping under. A full 47 seconds pass before Dylan even looks up. Then panic. He fumbles with his radio. He doesn't dive in. He runs around the pool looking for a shepherd's hook. 47 seconds, Alexander says, his voice dangerously quiet. In drowning, that is a lifetime. He failed in his duty, catastrophically. He closes the laptop. His negligence could have killed my son. It will cost him. He'll never work in this city again, but that's not your concern. He stands walking to the window. My concern, Ms. Johnson, is narrative. My hotel is under scrutiny. My custody battle is a matter of public record. A viral video of my son's near drowning due to my hotel's negligence during my visitation. He turns back. It would be disastrous. My ex-wife's lawyers would use it to paint me as a negligent, absentee father. The hotel's reputation, already fragile, would be shattered. The board would have my head. The pieces click into place for Amara with a cold, metallic finality. The public gratitude, the lavish gift. It wasn't thanks. It was a trade, a transaction. He was buying her silence, and he was doing it in front of 50 witnesses with phones. He needed the story to be heroic housekeeper saves heir, not negligent billionaire's hotel nearly kills child. You want me to say the lifeguard was at his post, she says, her voice flat. I want you to say the truth, that you acted heroically and promptly. The incident was a tragic fluke accident, a child's momentary slip. The safety protocols were followed. But they were. Perception, he says, is the only truth that matters in my world. The footage from the cameras, it can be edited. The 47 seconds of inaction can become 5. The right narrative, delivered by the right heroine, saves lives. My son's future, the jobs of the hundreds who work here, your future as well, he gestures to the watch. That is just the beginning, a promotion, a salary that will finally care for your mother, a path to management. All I ask is for your cooperation, your consistent testimony. He's offering her a way out of everything, out of debt, out of invisibility. All she has to do is shade the truth, to become part of the machine that polishes over cracks. She thinks of her brother, the truth of his death buried under paperwork and a lifeguard's lie. And if I do, Alexander's pleasant facade drops for a fraction of a second. What's underneath is not anger, but a colder calculation. Then you would be a disgruntled employee, contradicting her own initial statement. The watch could be seen as attempted bribery, which you accepted. You left your assigned floor without permission. There would be an internal investigation. Your visa status would be reviewed. It would be messy for everyone, but especially for you. The threat is velvet-trapped, but it's iron. He has all the power, all the lawyers, all the cameras. Before she can answer, his phone buzzes. He glances at it and his face tightens. It seems the story is already out. He turns the screen to her. It's a local news site. The headline, Billionaire's Son in any WNING 80 Luxury Hotel Housekeeper Hero. The article is brief, but it quotes an eyewitness describing the locked doors, the dramatic reward. The comments are flooding in. Wow, that's classy. Faith in humanity restored. That maid is so lucky. But scrolling further, other comments appear. Why were the doors locked? That's creepy. How does a kid drown with a lifeguard there? Something off. The narrative is live and it's already mutating. Alexander's assistant bursts in. Sir, CNN is calling, and Mrs. Choi's lawyer is on line 1. Ilara, she knows. Alexander's composure cracks. Get out, he says to the assistant. He paces, running a hand through his hair. The perfect performance is over. He is a man standing on cracking ice. He looks at Amara, a new desperate intensity in his eyes. The story is out. But which asterisk story? The heroic rescue or the negligent father? That is still up for grabs, and you hold the key. He moves around the desk, closer. Stay here tonight, in the guest suite. We'll have a press conference tomorrow morning. You'll speak. You'll say what we agreed. And then this all goes away and you walk away set for life. It's not a request. The security men at the door make that clear. She is not being detained, of course. She is being protected from the media. Her uniform is still damp in a bag downstairs. She has nothing but the clothes on her back and a watch worth a fortune. She is shown to a guest room, a beautiful, sterile cell with a view of the city lights. The door doesn't lock from the inside. She places the velvet box on a dresser. It mocks her. She checks her phone. Dozens of notifications. Friend requests from people she hasn't spoken to in years. A text from her mother. Baby, I saw it online. Are you okay? Is that watch real? Her supervisor, Marla, call HR immediately. You are on paid administrative leave pending review. The world is rushing in, and she is trapped at the center of it in a gilded tower. She looks out the window. 43 floors down, the city pulses, oblivious. She thinks about walking out. But to where? Her life as she knew it ended the moment she jumped into that pool. Down the hall in his study, Alexander Choi is not celebrating. He is on a secured video call with his head of security. The footage from the pool cameras is on a large monitor, frozen on the frame of Amara diving in. Run a full background on her, Alexander says. Everything, family, debts, associations, any hint of activism, anything she's ever posted online. I need to know every pressure point. Yes, sir, and the mother's medical files, get them. He ends the call. He pours another whiskey but doesn't drink it. He's staring at a different file on his screen. An email from his ex-wife's lawyer sent 20 minutes ago. Subject, urgent custody emergency. Given today's grievous incident demonstrating profound failure of supervision, we are filing an emergency motion for sole custody. The child is clearly unsafe in your care. He closes his eyes. The walls are closing in. The housekeeper is not a heroine, she is a variable. An unpredictable, moral, stubborn variable in an equation that requires absolute control. He needs her to be compliant, and if she won't be. Amara in her room tries to sleep but can't. At 2 a.m. she gets up restless. She wanders silently into the living room. The study door is ajar, a blue glow emanating from within. She hears Alexander's voice low on another call. The edit needs to be seamless. Cut from the boy slipping to her diving in. No, remove the timestamp. And for God's sake, blur the lifeguard's face. We'll say he was assisting another guest. Yes, have it ready for the press packet. She freezes. He's not just shaping the narrative, he's forging the evidence, creating the truth. The ice beneath her feet turns to sheer cliff. She creeps back to her room, heart hammering. She needs leverage. She needs proof of her own. She remembers something. When she burst onto the pool deck before she dove, she saw a woman in a bright pink swimsuit holding her phone horizontally, filming, not taking a selfie, recording. That woman might have the raw, unedited footage. The 47 seconds, the truth. If she can find that woman before Alexander's team does, she looks at the city lights. Somewhere out there in a hotel room or an apartment is a video that could destroy Alexander Choi and save her. But first she has to get out of this penthouse. She looks at the watch on the dresser, a $200,000 shackle. She makes a decision. She will play her part. She will be the grateful, cooperative heroine at the press conference. And then, the moment she is free, she will find that video. It's a dangerous game. She is a ghost learning to fight back in a world made of solid, wealthy stone. And as the first light of dawn stains the sky gray, Alexander Choi receives a new report. His investigator has found something, not about Amara, about the woman in the pink swimsuit. She checked out this evening, and she was a freelance journalist. Journalist, Alexander's blood runs cold. A witness with a phone is a problem. A witness with a press card and a byline is a catastrophe. He cancels the planned press conference. Find her, he orders his security chief. Offer to buy the footage any price. If she refuses, find another pressure point. The game has changed. The narrative is no longer his to control in a quiet lobby. It's out in the wild, and a professional storyteller has a piece of it. He turns to the other problem, Amara. It's her locked down now. He walks to the guest suite. She is awake, dressed in the same clothes from yesterday, looking out the window. She turns, her face a careful mask of calm. The press conference is postponed, he says, watching her closely. Logistical issues. You'll remain here as our guest, for your safety given the media attention. She simply nods, too compliant. It unnerves him. Is there anything you need? She meets his gaze. My phone charger and my bag from my locker. My mother's medication list is in there. I need to call her pharmacy. The requests are so ordinary, so reasonable. He agrees, dispatching an assistant. It's a test. He's waiting for her to ask about the watch, about the money, about leaving. She asks for nothing. Down in the city, the journalist, Maya Rodriguez, is not sleeping either. She's reviewing the footage on her laptop in a budget hotel room 20 blocks away. She sees it all. The empty lifeguard chair, the long, horrifying seconds of the boy submerged, the housekeeper's desperate sprint and dive, the billionaire finally looking up from his laptop. She has the raw, unedited truth. 47 seconds of negligence. She's a freelancer struggling to break into investigative work. This isn't just a story, it's a grenade. She knows its value. She uploads the file to 3 encrypted cloud servers, then she waits for the right offer or for the right moment to publish. Alexander's investigator works fast. By 8 a.m. he has Maya's full dossier, debts, a sick father, a career going nowhere. She is vulnerable, which means she is dangerous. She needs money, which means she can be bought. Alexander arranges a call. His lawyer makes the offer, $250,000 for the phone and all copies of the footage, along with a signed non-disclosure agreement. It's a life-changing sum for Maya. She listens, silent. Then she asks one question. And the housekeeper, Amara Johnson, what happens to her? The lawyer, caught off guard, stumbles. She is being taken care of. That's not your concern. Maya hangs up. She isn't just a mercenary, she's a journalist, and she's just heard the fear in the lawyer's voice. She starts digging into Amara Johnson, into the Choi Hotel empire, into the custody battle. Back in the penthouse, Amara receives her bag. Among her spare uniform and toiletries is the thing she really needed, a cheap, prepaid burner phone she bought months ago for emergencies, still in its packaging. While Alexander is distracted with the hunt for Maya, Amara hides it in the bathroom. She has a tool. Now she needs a plan. She thinks of the woman in pink. A journalist would have left a contact, a business card with the concierge if she was working. It's a long shot. When a housekeeping attendant brings lunch, Amara does something she's never done. She uses the invisible knowledge of her trade. She notices a small coffee stain on the attendant's cuff, the subtle fatigue in her eyes from a double shift. Rough day on 16, Amara asks, her voice soft with shared understanding. The VIP checkout, you know how it is. The attendant, a woman named Lisa, relaxes. Tell me about it. Demanded 12 towels at 4 a.m. A connection fragile is made. Amara takes a risk. I saw a woman yesterday at the pool. Pink swimsuit filming. She might have dropped something. A card. Did anyone turn anything in? Lisa shrugs. Maybe. Concierge had a lost and found box from the Oasis. Mostly sunglasses. It's something. Alexander, meanwhile, is facing fire on another front. His ex-wife, Ilara, has arrived at the hotel. She storms past the protesting staff straight into the penthouse. She doesn't look at Amara, who watches from the doorway of her room. You incompetent fool, Ilara hisses at Alexander in French. You had him for 8 hours and you nearly let him die. The court will hear about every locked door, every paid-off witness. She has her own investigators. She already knows about the watch, about the locked lobby. She is building her own narrative. Alexander is a manipulative, dangerous man who covers up his failures with money and intimidation. Her lawyers file the emergency motion, attaching the news articles about the heroic rescue as evidence of a publicity stunt designed to distract from his failure. Alexander's world is splitting in two. He must fight Ilara in family court, and he must control the media narrative, and both battles hinge on the same quiet woman in the guest room. That afternoon, under the guise of getting air, Amara is escorted to a private terrace garden on the penthouse level. The security guard stands at the door. She pretends to admire a rose bush, her back to him. She pulls the burner phone from her pocket, her body blocking it. She has one number memorized, her cousin, a tech guy in California. She texts him a simple code they established years ago, a signal that means, I need help, trace this if you can. She includes Maya Rodriguez's name and the words freelance journalist. She hits send, then deletes the message and buries the phone in the soil of a large potted fern. It's a message in a bottle. She has no idea if it will be found. Maya Rodriguez is making her own moves. She reaches out not to Alexander, but to a contact at a major newspaper. She pitches the story, billionaire covers up hotel negligence in son's near drowning, coerces employee hero. The editor is interested but cautious. We need corroboration. We need the employee, the one who saved the boy. Maya needs to talk to Amara, but Amara is in the dragon's den, unreachable. So Maya does the next best thing, she writes. She publishes a short, cryptic post on a professional journalist forum, seeking contact with hospitality worker involved in high-profile rescue at Excelsior Grand on Saturday, offering safe, confidential conversation. Truth matters. It's a shot in the dark. Amara's cousin gets the text. He can't trace the prepaid phone, but he can research Maya Rodriguez. He finds her forum post. Using an anonymous account, he replies with another coded message only Amara would understand, a reference to their grandmother's house on Briarwood Street. It tells Amara the post is legitimate, but Amara has no internet access. The message sits unseen. The pressure on Alexander becomes physical. His board of directors calls an emergency meeting. The stock price of Choi Hotels has dipped 3% on the vague news of an incident. They want a statement, a resolution, and they want the spotlight off the flagship property. Alexander is given an ultimatum: resolve the situation cleanly within 48 hours, or they will appoint an interim crisis manager, a humiliation that would signal the end of his control. He has 1 day left. He summons Amara to the study. The pleasantries are gone. He looks exhausted, haunted. The journalist Maya Rodriguez has been contacted. She is negotiating, but she's a wild card. I need your public statement. Tonight, we will stream it from here. You will say the lifeguard was alert, the response was immediate, and you are grateful for the family's generous support. That is all. He slides a piece of paper across the desk. A typed script. Read it. Amara picks it up. The lies are printed in crisp black ink. She looks from the paper to Alexander's face. She sees not a powerful billionaire, but a desperate man backed into a corner, a dangerous animal. What happens after I read it? She asks. You will be driven to a new apartment the company maintains. You will have a new role in a different hotel with a significant salary. Your mother's medical bills will be handled. Your life begins anew, quietly. And if I don't read it? Alexander leans back. Then you will be terminated for leaving your post without authorization, causing a public disturbance and attempted extortion. The watch will be evidence. You will be deported. Your mother will lose what little care she has, and I will still win. The edited footage will be released. My story will stand. You will just be gone. It's the final threat stripped bare. He is offering her a golden cage or a concrete cell. There is no third option. Amara feels the walls of the penthouse of his power closing in for real. She thinks of her brother at the bottom of another pool. She thinks of her grandmother's words about being a ghost. She has spent her life being quiet, thorough, and gone. To save herself now, she must become a louder ghost, a vengeful one. She must agree. She must buy time. I'll read it, she says, her voice hollow. Alexander's shoulders slump in relief. Smart girl. The broadcast is set for 8 p.m. At 7:30, as a makeup artist fusses over her in a temporary studio set up in the living room, Amara asks to use the restroom. The security guard escorts her. Inside, she kneels by the potted fern, her heart pounding. She digs with her fingers, finding the burner phone. She has minutes. She turns it on, 1 bar of signal. She opens the browser, types in the forum address her cousin once showed her. It loads, agonizingly slow. She searches, and there it is. Maya Rodriguez's post, and below it the reply with her grandmother's street. It's real. The journalist is looking for her. She has a lifeline, but how to grab it? The broadcast is in 20 minutes. She types a frantic, clumsy reply on the tiny keypad. I am her penthouse. Broadcast at 8 is forced. Have raw footage. She hits post. She buries the phone again, flushes the toilet, washes her hands. Her face in the mirror is pale, but her eyes are alive. At 7:55, Maya Rodriguez, refreshing the forum page from her hotel room, sees the new reply. Her breath catches. It's her, and she's confirming everything. The forced broadcast, the coercion. Maya makes a split-second decision. She will not stop the broadcast. She will use it. She grabs her equipment. She heads for the Excelsior Grand. 8 p.m., the red light on the camera glows. Alexander stands beside Amara, a hand on her shoulder, a picture of paternal gratitude. Amara holds the typed script. She looks into the lens. Millions are watching on the hotel's live stream channel. She begins to read, her voice monotone. On Saturday afternoon, I witnessed a child in distress in the pool. The safety response was immediate. The lifeguard was attentive. I acted on instinct. She is reciting the lies, each word ash in her mouth. Alexander's grip on her shoulder tightens slightly, a signal to sound more convincing. She is selling her soul live on camera, but as she reaches the middle of the page, she does something. She stumbles. She looks down at the paper, frowns, as if she's lost her place. She takes a deliberate, shaky breath. And in that pause, that hiccup in the flawless performance, she looks directly into the camera, her eyes wide with a fear that is no longer for herself, but for the truth. It lasts 2 seconds, a silent scream. Then she drops her gaze and continues reading. The moment is subtle. Most viewers will see a nervous woman, but a sharp viewer, a journalist like Maya, will see a signal, a cry for help. The broadcast ends. Alexander is satisfied. The official story is cemented. He turns to Amara, his smile genuine for the first time. You did well. A car will take you to your new home in an hour. He leaves to take calls from his relieved board members. Amara is returned to the guest suite to collect her things. The velvet box with the watch is placed in her hands again. This time she takes it. She waits. She prays her message was seen. Down in the lobby, Maya Rodriguez walks up to the concierge. She is not in a pink swimsuit now. She is in professional attire. I have a package for Ms. Amara Johnson, she says, holding up a sealed envelope. She's expecting it. It's regarding a personal matter. The concierge, following protocol for penthouse guests, calls up. Alexander's assistant answers, annoyed. A delivery for her? Fine, send it up with security. Inspect it first. The envelope is X-rayed. It contains a single blank sheet of paper and a business card. Maya Rodriguez, freelance journalist, with a phone number. No threat. They let it go. The envelope is brought to Amara. She opens it, her guards watching. The blank paper confuses them, but Amara understands. A blank slate, a new story to write. She pockets the card. The guards escort her to the private elevator, then down to the basement garage. A black sedan is waiting. This is it. The moment she gets in that car, she enters the golden cage forever. She hesitates at the car door. One of the security men opens it for her. Ms. Johnson. She looks back at the service elevator, the world she knows. Then she looks at the watch in her hand, the symbol of her silence. She thinks of the boy, Leo. He deserves the truth about the day he almost died. She deserves the truth of her own life. She makes her choice. Just as she is about to duck into the car, she turns to the security guard. I left my bag, my mother's photos. It's in the guest suite closet. The guard sighs, annoyed. I'll have it sent to the new address. No, she says, her voice firm. I need it now, please. It's all I have of her. It's a gamble, a small, reasonable request. The guard radios up. A minute later, the all clear. Fine, make it quick. They take her back up in the elevator. Not to the penthouse, but to the service corridor on the guest suite floor. One guard stays with the car. The other escorts her down the hall. As they near the suite, Amara fumbles with the watch box, pretending to drop it. It clatters to the floor. Oh, clumsy me, she says, bending down. As the guard bends to help, she pulls the business card from her pocket and slides it under the edge of a nearby room service cart parked in the hall. It's not much, but it's a trail, a breadcrumb. If Maya is as good as she hopes, she'll find a way to check the penthouse floor. She'll see the cart. She might find the card. She retrieves her bag, a meaningless toiletry kit she left behind on purpose. They descend again to the garage. This time she gets in the car. The door shuts with a solid thud. The car pulls away into the labyrinth of the city. Alexander Choi, watching from a security monitor, finally breathes. The problem is solved. The story is set. He has won. But in a quiet hotel room, Maya Rodriguez is watching the archived broadcast. She replays it. She sees the stumble. The 2-second pause, the look in Amara's eyes. She rewinds, plays it again. That wasn't nerves. That was a message. This is a lie. Maya picks up her phone. She has the raw footage. She has a source confirming coercion. She has a story. It's time to write it. But first, she needs to find Amara Johnson before Alexander Choi makes her disappear for good. The car with Amara turns a corner, merging into the neon river of traffic. It is followed, at a discreet distance, by another, smaller car. Maya is not a billionaire, but she is resourceful, and she is very, very interested in the truth. The battle for the story, for Amara's future, for the soul of what happened in that pool, has just left the gilded tower and hit the streets, and the streets have eyes everywhere. The article drops at 6 a.m. on Wednesday. The headline is a seismic charge in the quiet world of luxury hospitality, forced heroism, how a billionaire covered up negligence that nearly killed his son, by Maya Rodriguez. It is methodical, devastating. It publishes the raw, time-stamped footage side by side with screenshots from the hotel's edited version. The 47 seconds of emptiness, the lifeguard on his phone, Alexander staring at his laptop. It includes source documents, the internal memo about the narrative, the transfer of the Patek Philippe watch, the non-disclosure offer to Maya, and it centers the testimony of a senior staff member with direct knowledge of the coercion, a voice disguised in the accompanying podcast. It is Lisa, the housekeeping attendant. Amara's small moment of connection had worked. The article does not name Amara directly, calling her Employee A, but it describes her locked-door detention in the penthouse, the scripted broadcast, the escorted car ride. It frames her not as a lucky heroine, but as a victim of a different kind of drowning. The internet does what it does. It explodes. The narrative flips in minutes. The comments that once said faith in humanity restored are buried under new torrent. This is kidnapping. He locked her in, that poor woman. Dylan the lifeguard was a scapegoat. The video of Alexander's deep bow in the lobby is recut with sinister music. The watch is no longer a symbol of gratitude, but of payment for silence. Hashtags trend, Choi cover up, let Amar speak, justice for Leo. The stock of Choi Hotels International plummets 7%. in the first hour of trading. The board's emergency line rings off the hook. Alexander is in his office when his chief counsel calls, voice strained. We're looking at potential charges, false imprisonment, witness tampering, possibly obstruction. The DA's office is asking questions. Alexander's world, built on perception, is crumbling into a legal reality. His phone buzzes with a text from Ilara's lawyer. It's a single link to family court ruling from another high-profile case, where a father's manipulative conduct led to loss of custody. The message is clear. He slams his fist on the desk. The perfect control is gone. He orders his team to find Amara, to bring her back, to get her to recant, to say the journalist lied. But the car that took her the previous night never arrived at the company apartment. The driver reports she asked to stop at an all-night pharmacy for her mother's medicine. She walked in. She never walked out. She vanished into the city. Maya Rodriguez had a friend waiting at that pharmacy, a safe house. Amara is in a small, tidy apartment in Queens, belonging to Maya's former journalism professor. She watches the news cycle erupt on a laptop. She sees her story, her truth, finally told. She feels no triumph, only a deep, trembling exhaustion. Maya sits with her. What do you want to do now? Amara thinks for a long time. She doesn't want the watch. She doesn't want a promotion in a different cage. I want to tell my own story, once. And then I want to go back to work, but not for him, not invisible. Maya nods. Then let's do an interview on your terms. The interview is conducted 2 days later, streamed live on the newspaper's site. Amara wears a simple blue sweater, no makeup. She sits in a plain room. She is not employee, she is Amara Johnson. She speaks quietly, clearly. She talks about her brother, about the sound a body makes when it hits the water and doesn't come back up. She talks about the 47 seconds, not as a statistic, but as the length of a childhood lost. She describes the locked doors in the lobby not as a dramatic plot point, but as the moment she understood she was not a person, but a problem to be managed. She talks about the penthouse, the script, the fear, and she talks about Leo. He's a little boy who got lost. He deserves to grow up knowing the truth, that systems failed him, but people didn't, not all people. She doesn't rage at Alexander. She pities him. He thinks he was protecting his son. But you don't protect someone by lying about what almost killed them. You protect them by making sure it never happens again. When asked about the watch, she holds it up to the camera for the first time. This was never a thank you. It was a receipt. For my silence, I don't want it. She announces she will sell it and donate every penny to a nonprofit that teaches swimming skills to children in underserved communities in her brother's name. The response is tidal. Donations to the nonprofit flood in independently. Offers for book deals, speaking engagements, movie rights pour into Maya's office. Amara ignores them all. The consequences are swift and concrete. The district attorney opens a formal investigation into potential criminal wrongdoing by Alexander Choi and his security team. The hotel's operating license is reviewed by the city. The lifeguard, Dylan, sues for wrongful termination and defamation, his case bolstered by the unedited footage. The board of Choi Hotels votes 7-5 to remove Alexander as CEO, placing him on indefinite leave. The crisis manager he feared is installed. The flagship hotel reputation is in tatters, but the most profound loss for Alexander is quiet and private. In family court, the judge rules on the emergency motion, citing a pattern of manipulative and coercive behavior that demonstrates a fundamental disregard for truth and safety. The judge awards temporary sole custody to Ilara. Alexander's visitation rights are suspended, pending a full psychological evaluation. He is allowed to see Leo only in supervised settings. He stands outside the courthouse, a photograph that circles the globe. A billionaire, alone in the rain, his empire of marble and money suddenly meaningless. A month passes, the news cycle moves on. Amara uses a small portion of the speaking fees she eventually accepts to pay off her mother's debts. She turns down a dozen lucrative offers to become a professional hero spokesperson. Instead, she goes back to school online for a degree in public health with a focus on aquatic safety. She starts working part-time at that same nonprofit, teaching toddlers how to float. She is seen now, but on her terms. One afternoon, she receives a letter, hand-delivered by a courier, no return address. Inside, on heavy cream stationery, is a handwritten note. Ms. Johnson, Leo is taking swimming lessons. He asks about the woman who pulled him from the pool. I tell him you were brave and you told the truth. That is the story he will know. I was wrong. On every level, I am learning. There is no request, no offer. Just an apology from a man who may never fully understand, but is beginning to see. She does not respond, she keeps the note. The final surprising detail emerges not in a courtroom or a headline, but in a corporate filing 6 months later. As part of the settlement of multiple lawsuits, Choi Hotels International mandates that all properties worldwide install AI-powered pool monitoring systems that alert lifeguards to motionless bodies in under 10 seconds. They also establish a full tuition scholarship for hospitality management, named not for the family, but for frontline employee excellence, and its first board member is a housekeeping supervisor from the Excelsior Grand. The reforms are quietly attributed to lessons learned, but the internal memo, leaked later, is more direct. It states, to prevent future Johnson events. Her name has become a verb. A Johnson event, when the invisible infrastructure of service reveals its conscience and the world is forced to look. On a Tuesday morning, Amara stands at the edge of a public pool in Brooklyn. She is coaching a class of 8-year-olds. The water is loud with splashes and laughter. She looks at their faces, brown, white, Asian, full of trust. She is not a ghost. She is a woman with strong hands, using them to hold people up in the light where everyone can see. The journey that began in a silent, gilded lobby ends here in the chaotic, chlorinated joy of a community center. She did not just save a boy from drowning. She surfaced a truth that an empire tried to hide. And in doing so, she finally learned how to swim in the deep end of her own life. We build temples of marble and call them luxury. We build systems of silence and call them service. But what is a hotel really? It is a machine designed to make the messy human invisible, the sweat, the fear, the labor, the grief. We polish the surfaces until they reflect only the powerful, and we call that a good stay. Amara Johnson worked inside that machine for 3 years, until the day the machine broke and a child fell through the cracks. She was designed to be the silent fixer, the ghost who restores order without a trace. Instead, she became the crack through which the light poured in. Her story is not about a watch, or a billionaire, or a viral moment. It is about a simple, devastating question. What happens when the person we've trained to be invisible decides to be seen? The answer reshaped a corporation, redefined a custody battle, and rewrote the safety protocols for thousands of pools. But more than that, it redefined the value of a single human conscience in an economy built on its suppression. The drowning gap, the statistic that says a black child is 5.5 times more likely to drown than a white child, is not an accident. It is a design flaw in the architecture of our society, a reflection of who we do and do not teach to swim, of which neighborhoods have pools, of which parents have time. Alexander Choi tried to design a different flaw, a narrative where his failure was erased by a heroine's grace. Both designs failed because of the same thing: a woman who remembered what water does, who remembered her brother, and who refused to let another story sink without a trace. So the next time you walk through a grand lobby, look past the chandeliers. See the fingerprints on the brass, the perfect line of the carpet, the silent army of ghosts who hold that beauty in place. They are not just cleaning rooms, they are witnesses. They are the first responders to our private collapses, and sometimes they are the only ones watching when the world we've built for ourselves suddenly, quietly, starts to drown its own. The most dangerous thing you can do in a system built on your silence is to make a sound. The most revolutionary thing you can do in a world that values your invisibility is to be seen on your own terms. Amara Johnson made a sound. She let herself be seen, and in the echoing quiet that followed, an empire had to learn how to listen. If you found this story of hidden truths and visible courage compelling, there are more narratives like it waiting in the shadows. Consider subscribing to this channel. We dive deep into the unseen architectures of power, one true story at a time. Thank you for watching.